Tonight, let's stay with a feeling almost everyone knows. As you get older, time feels faster, not in a poetic way, in a real, measurable, psychological way. A summer used to feel endless. A school year used to feel like a lifetime. But now, months vanish, weeks collapse, and entire years feel like a quick page turn. And the strange part is, it happens even when life is normal. Even when nothing dramatic is happening, time still feels like it's accelerating. So tonight, we stay with one calm question. Why does time feel faster as you age? And if the brain is doing this, what exactly is it doing? Because this is not just busy life. Even people with slow routines feel it. Even people who live quietly feel it. So the explanation has to be deeper. Here's the first quiet wow moment. Your brain does not measure time like a clock. It measures time like a memory machine. And memory does not store days evenly. Your sense of time is built after the fact. It's built from what your brain kept and what it didn't. So if your memory is dense, a month feels long. If your memory is thin, a month feels short. That one idea explains more than most people realize. Let's build it slowly. Imagine 2 months, both with the same number of hours. Month A, you do new things, meet new people, go to new places, learn something unfamiliar. Month B, you repeat the same pattern. Same routes, same conversations, same screens, same days. When you look back, month A feels longer. Month B feels like it disappeared. Because novelty creates memory, and repetition compresses it. This is the second wow moment. Time feels fast when your brain stops writing details, not because life is shorter, because it becomes more predictable, and prediction saves energy. So the brain stores less. Now think about childhood. Everything is new. First school, first friendships, first rules, first fears, first achievements. The brain records constantly because it has to learn the world. So memory becomes rich, and rich memory makes time feel wide. But as you age, you have more models, more routines, more expectations. You don't need to record every detail. So the brain becomes efficient, and efficiency feels like speed. Now, another important layer, proportion. A year at age 5 is a huge fraction of your entire life. A year at age 50 is a smaller fraction. So the same unit feels smaller. This is not the full explanation, but it adds something real. Your brain compares time to your life scale, and the scale changes. Now, here is where the episode becomes even more interesting. Because there are 2 clocks inside you. One is objective time, measured by machines. The other is subjective time, measured by attention. When you are fully present, time can feel slow. When you are distracted, time can vanish. When you are anxious, time can stretch. When you are absorbed, time can disappear. So time is not only memory, time is attention. And attention changes with age, with stress, with responsibility, with sleep. Now let's connect this to night listening. At night, the mind reviews. It scans the day. It replays. It edits. And if your days are repetitive, the review is short, because there is less to file. So time feels like it slipped through you. That feeling can be unsettling, like life is speeding away. But tonight, we're not going to make it heavy. We're going to make it clear, because clarity reduces pressure. So here's the calm structure we'll follow. In part 2, we'll explore the brain mechanics, novelty, memory density, attention, and prediction. and we'll explain why routine compresses time and why certain experiences expand it again. In part 3, we'll finish with a gentle solution, not a life overhaul, just small changes that make time feel wider without adding chaos. For now, hold this one sentence softly. Time feels faster when your brain records less detail. Let's continue. Part 2. Now we go deeper, but we keep it gentle, because the goal is not to lecture. The goal is to make the feeling make sense. So let's return to the core idea. Your brain does not store time, it stores change. And later, it uses that stored change to estimate how long life felt. That means two things can be true at once. A day can feel long while you live it, and feel short when you remember it. Or, a day can feel short while you live it, and feel long when you remember it. This is the first big wow moment in part 2. There are two different time feelings: experienced time and remembered time. Experienced time is attention. If you're bored, a minute stretches. If you're anxious, a minute becomes sharp. If you're absorbed, a minute disappears. Remembered time is memory density. If you have many distinct memory frames, a month feels wide. If you have few frames, a month feels thin. Now, when people say time is flying, they usually mean remembered time. They look back and find fewer distinct frames than they expected, so the period collapses. And the brain has a reason for storing fewer frames, because repetition is safe. If today matches yesterday, the brain doesn't need to record every detail. It can predict, and prediction saves energy. So as you age and life becomes more patterned, your brain becomes more predictive. And predictive brains store fewer surprises. Now let's talk about novelty. Novelty is not just travel. Novelty can be small: a new route, a new food, a new conversation, a new skill, a new room layout, a new piece of information. Your brain treats novelty as important because novelty might change your model of the world. So novelty triggers stronger encoding. Stronger encoding creates more memory frames. More frames make time feel longer in hindsight. Second wow moment. You don't need more time. You need more markers. Because markers are what your brain counts. Now, why does childhood feel so long? Because childhood is filled with firsts. First rules. First friendships. First mistakes. First discoveries. Every week contains new categories. So the brain writes constantly. The memory book becomes thick, so time feels wide. But adulthood often becomes same route, same responsibilities, same settings, same patterns. Not because life is bad, but because life becomes stable. And stability makes the brain efficient. Efficiency reduces markers, so time feels faster. Now, there's a deeper mechanism underneath novelty: prediction error. This is a quiet concept, but it runs your life. Your brain predicts what will happen next. When the prediction is correct, the brain relaxes and stores less. When the prediction is wrong, the brain pays attention and stores more. Third wow moment. Your brain records what surprises you, not what repeats. So if your days contain fewer surprises, your brain records less, and time collapses in memory. Now let's add another layer: dopamine. Not in a pop science way, in a simple way. Dopamine is involved in salience, motivation, learning, and marking what matters. Novelty often increases dopamine signaling because new information may be valuable. So novelty gets flagged. Flagging strengthens memory. Stronger memory increases time markers. So the month looks bigger later. Now, this is important. You don't have to chase dopamine or chase excitement. That turns life into a treadmill. But you can understand the principle. Your brain needs occasional meaningful change to keep time from compressing. Now let's talk about the proportion idea again. A year at age 10 is 10% of your life. A year at age 50 is 2%. So your mind frames it differently. But proportion alone does not fully explain the feeling, because even within the same year, some months feel longer than others, and that's memory density again. Now we add one more powerful factor: routine speed. As you gain experience, you do things faster. You think less about them: driving, cooking, working, even social interaction. Many tasks become automatic. Automation is efficient, but automation reduces attention. Reduced attention reduces encoding. Reduced encoding compresses time, so the same day can pass with fewer conscious moments, not because you weren't alive, but because your brain didn't need to write every step. Now, let's make this extremely concrete. Think of a day where you did something new. You remember details: where you were, what the air felt like, what someone said, how the light looked. Now think of a day that was routine. It becomes a blur. Same day length, different memory thickness. So later, it feels like less life happened. Now let's address a common misunderstanding. People hear this and think, so I need constant novelty. No, constant novelty becomes stress. And stress has its own time distortions. Stress can make days feel sharp and nights feel restless. So we're not chasing chaos. We're chasing gentle markers, small changes that create memory frames without overstimulation. Now, one more fascinating detail. The brain also compresses time when it is overloaded. If you're doing too much, your attention becomes narrow. You move through tasks quickly, without deep encoding, so you get the worst combination. Life feels fast while you live it, and fast when you remember it, because you were busy, but not present. This is why many adults feel everything is speeding up. Not because life is shorter, because life is denser, but less encoded. Now, we should also mention sleep. Sleep is where memory is organized. If sleep is fragmented, memory consolidation suffers. So your brain may store fewer clean markers, which again makes time feel compressed. So sleep quality can change your time feeling, even if your schedule didn't change. Now let's do a gentle recap of part 2. There are 2 time feelings. Experienced time is attention. Remembered time is memory density. Your brain stores change and compresses repetition. Novelty creates markers. Prediction errors create encoding. Automation reduces attention. Overload reduces encoding. Sleep helps organize the markers. In part 3, we end with the practical question: how do you make time feel wider again without turning life into chaos? How do you slow the years are disappearing feeling in a gentle way? Let's continue. Part 3. Now we finish with something useful and calm, because the goal is not to fear time. The goal is to understand how your brain is shaping it, so you can gently reshape it back. Here is the first truth. You cannot slow clocks, but you can change the way your brain records life, and that changes the way time feels. So tonight, I'm going to give you a small set of time wideners. Not life hacks, not productivity tricks, just quiet changes that increase memory markers without adding noise. Time widener number 1, micro-novelty. This is the simplest and the most sustainable. Choose one small thing each day that is slightly different. A different walk route, a different cafe order, a different song, a different room to sit in, a different question to ask someone. Small, gentle, noticeable. The goal is not excitement. The goal is a marker. Time widener number 2. Name the moment. This sounds simple, but it works. Once a day, pause for 10 seconds and silently label what is happening. This is the warm tea moment. This is the quiet street moment. This is the late sunlight moment. Labeling creates a memory frame. It tells the brain, keep this. Second wow moment. Memory is not only what happened. Memory is what you marked as worth keeping. Time widener number 3. Single task for 1 minute. Adults live in mental multitasking, and multitasking reduces encoding. So for just 1 minute, do one thing only. Wash your hands slowly. Listen to a sound fully. Look at the sky for a minute. Feel the weight of a cup. 1 minute of full attention. That minute becomes a strong marker. It becomes a pin in the day. Time widener number 4. New learning, but gentle learning. Learning changes the brain, and the brain records what changes it. So a small learning habit widens time, a new concept, a new word, a short documentary, a small skill, not to become perfect, just to create new frames. Time widener number 5. Break the autopilot loop. Autopilot is not bad. It keeps life stable, but too much autopilot compresses time. So pick one routine action and do it slightly differently. Take a different staircase, write with a different pen, change the order you do a task. A small interruption creates a marker. Now, there is also a deeper emotional part. Sometimes time feels fast because life feels like waiting for a milestone, waiting for a change, waiting for something to begin. When you live in waiting, the days become invisible because your mind is living ahead. So one gentle solution is bring meaning back into the middle. Not huge meaning, small meaning. A small thing you do that feels intentional, even once a week. That intention creates markers and reduces the blur feeling. Now let's return to the night, because at night, people often feel the speed most. They look back, and the day collapses. So here is a night practice that is calm, before sleep. Name 3 moments from the day, not accomplishments, moments. A sound, a light, a conversation, a texture. 3 small frames. This tells the brain, today existed, and that reduces the feeling that life is disappearing. Third wow moment. The feeling that time is speeding up is often the feeling of unmarked life. Marking life widens it. Now, one more important truth. Some people try to slow time by filling life with more tasks, more events, more stimulation. But more stimulation can backfire because overstimulation reduces deep encoding. So the day becomes busy, but still thin in memory. So it feels fast anyway. So, the best approach is not more, it's more distinct. More distinct moments, not more noise. Now let's end with a gentle summary. Time feels faster as you age because life becomes more predictable and the brain becomes more efficient. Efficiency reduces attention and reduces memory markers. So the years compress in hindsight, but you can widen time again with small novelty, small attention, small labeling, small learning, and gentle breaks in routine. If you take one idea from tonight, let it be this. Time is not only passing, time is being written. And you can write it more clearly without making it louder. Good night, and thank you for staying curious.